Hi. I have some big news, and normally I don't like making these kinds of videos because me sitting and just talking to a camera is boring, and I don't really want to be on camera too much, so I'm just going to tell you what's going on. I'm a pilot. Like officially, I'm a pilot. I got my pilot certificate today. I passed my check ride, and it went really well. But obviously, I couldn't record the flight, and I couldn't really record, what was going on during the flight or the oral or anything else. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna tell you how it went. I'm gonna go through everything that happened today, what I brought with me, what I planned for, what I did wrong, what I did right, and just kind of talk about it because I think it'll help me later. It'll help everyone else later. So one of the first things that I did was I got my secret folder full of my medical and my written test results. Along with that, I had my driver's license and I had my student pilot certificate with me, and we went through, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes of paperwork. Just, is this you? Is this your birthday? Is this your FTN? You can sign you in, sign this, do that. So a lot of paperwork was done right at the very beginning. And so before like anything else had started, it was just a lot of paperwork. And the other thing that I prepared for ahead of time was not only this for-flight log, but I also made, I'm gonna get it out before Soul takes it from me. Kind of the same thing that's on for-flight, but a nav log. So I detailed everything about the plane, including all of the VORs I might need for this flight to Kansas City, all the stuff in the POH that I had, all the just everything. Everything is in this flight log, top to bottom. Winds, according to some places, times, fuel, weight and balance here in the back, which was also done through my ASA CX3, alternates, everything was thrown into this log. And then obviously making a flight plan to go along with that. So the flight plan was fairly straightforward. It was just, add waypoints. So we had my top of a climb in Farmington. We had other waypoints along the way, trying to go through as many VORs as possible, getting as many airports nearby as possible, all the way to Kansas City. And preparing all of that the night before with accurate weather and everything else. These two things were definitely the biggest part. Sorry, I've got Soul over here being a being a gremlin. That was kind of the biggest thing of it. And the other really important thing that I prepared for ahead of time was just a giant list of documents. So I have a passenger brief, I have aero medical factors that helps me brief people. But more importantly, I have the risk management handbook, I have the airplane flying handbook, I have the pilot's handbook of aeronautical knowledge, aviation handbook, CFR Part 39s, Part 43, Part 91, the AIM, the ACS private airplane info, and then a custom-made study guide that's like 51 pages of questions that I could be asked, all kind of answered with sources and just a little bit of everything. And so this was kind of my book for everything that I did during the exam. It had everything in it. Every question that I was asked, I was able to reference from within this for-flight iPad. There was only one thing I think I had to reference outside of the iPad, which was something I just wanted to look up in the AIM itself, the FAR AIM, because I didn't have the FAR AIM on here. I just had the FAR, and I had the AIM separately. So I got them both together. I just grabbed the book and I referenced one thing that was in there. But overall, the idea of my oral was that nobody's perfect, and it came across pretty quickly when I got really nervous and I made a few errors on things that I said or things that I did. Kind of one of the big ones, or a few of the things that I missed were things like, are you allowed, or are you required to bring your logbook with you when you go fly? The answer is apparently no, and I said yes. And this was what tripped me up on a lot of questions, is things that I would personally do that are not necessarily legally required. I would always bring my logbook with me because I have it on for-flight, I have it all digitally. You can go through my entire logbook, start to finish. Everything is signed. Everything is accurate to my actual physical logbook. But also at the same point in time, I see no reason why I would leave this at home. But the same thing with the logbook, you know, you also needed this as a required document. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. But I just said yes, and then the answer was no. The other really important thing I missed that kind of upset me, because I should have known this, was if you're going from a high to low pressure, and what would your indicated altitude be versus your real altitude. And I made a really dumb mistake of saying higher when I should have remembered high to low, look out below. Completely missed that mnemonic, and you know, missed that question. And there were a few silly things that I did that I definitely need to do better next time. So, for example, I was looking everything up. Everything that the instructor asked, I looked up beforehand. And even simple things like, what is the VY of your airplane? And this kind of stuck with me as he literally asks, what is the VY of your airplane? And I start immediately opening up my iPad. I start going to my POH. I start looking up VY. And he's like, if you're on short final, are you going to look this up on your iPad? And I go, no. And he goes, okay, so tell me what your VY is. And I just say 75 or 65, sorry. I say 65. And he's like, there you go, perfect. And then we moved on. But silly things like that. Included with my documents too, not just the questions and the books. I also had everything about the plane digitized. So we had my pilot operating handbook for 520990. We had the weight and balance. We had the weight and balance forms. We had the deviation card. We had the airman's, or sorry, the the airworthiness certificate. We had registration, the current weight and balance, not just like the analysis form, ID plate, the other registration as well. There's Luna. So everything I basically digitized so that when we walked out to the plane, I could point at it and say, you've already seen it. You didn't have to take new pictures of it. It was already there. I had everything in here ready to go. But the oral, that was the oral. I could have done the oral better. I kind of feel like I looked too many things up. And not because I didn't know them, but just because I was nervous about the way that I was saying things. I have a very challenging time explaining things that I already know. Things like, I think one question he asked me that just really kind of emphasized this was, he asked, what is a spin? And now I can tell you what a spin is. It's when the plane is spinning. It's when you're in an aggravated stall and you're spiraling. But I, for some reason, could not explain that past it is a spin. So definitely something that I need to work on is my pilot terminology and my explanations of various things just a little bit better. Now, in terms of the oral went fine, and then we got ready for the plane. And the flight itself was pretty interesting. He had me turn off breadcrumbs, and he had me turn off location services. So everything that is in here is well, actually, I don't even think this was today. That is funny. Pretty sure this is when I went flying on Monday. Yeah, this is when I went flying on Monday. So the flight today was actually pretty interesting. When we got to the plane, I did my pre-checkout. I did my walk around. I told him about the plane. I told him what this is. Told him what that is. I made a really silly mistake, and this was probably the, I wouldn't say the biggest mistake I made all day, because I definitely made some mistakes, but definitely the one that made me feel the dumbest. He pointed to, so you have like the wing, right, and then you have the strut that connects the wing together, and there is a tube behind that strut. Not the pitot tube. The pitot tube is entirely its own thing. The tube behind the strut. And he points at it and goes, "What does this do?" And with a completely straight face, I go, "Oh, that's a part of the pitot system." And he looks at me with a raised eyebrow and goes, "Really? And so I say, wait, no, it's not. Hold on. And I spend the next 5 to 10 minutes furiously looking through my POH and all my referencing materials, trying to figure out what that tube actually was. I eventually remembered, after a discussion I had with my instructor a few weeks ago, it was actually the fuel vent valve, and it's placed behind that strut so that that tube does not freeze, specifically from the airflow. But like in that moment, I just completely forgot about it. But anyway, we got into the plane. He kind of the other big thing he told me during the day was that we are not striving for perfection. We are striving for ACS standards. Nobody's perfect, and I kind of didn't understand that until after the check ride was over, because there are a lot of things that I could have done better, and there's a lot of learning that I have to do. And as he said, my certificate is not a pilot certificate; it's a certificate to learn. I am going to continue a lot of learning about all the things that I'm talking about and things that I could have done better. But we get into the plane, we take off. Immediately on my takeoff roll, I feel like I am just kind of on edge. I'm doing everything correctly. I contact departure. We're headed towards our first waypoint, using dead reckoning. I'm flying using VOR. I find the VOR. I fly over the VOR. We go onto our second leg, and then we immediately start getting into just all of the maneuvers. Started with steep turns. It moved into slow flight and stalls. Then it turned into, okay, do slow flight while doing this turn, while coming down to this altitude. Okay, you've lost your GPS. What do you do? Okay, you've done this. What do you do? Give me this heading. Give me this altitude. Give me a power on stall, power off stall. Give me a turnaround to point. Oh no, your engine's out. What do you do? Make a best field for landing. Pay attention to wind. Do your checklist. And it just a lot of it kind of flew by super fast for me. It ended up being only 1.6 hours of flight, but it was still, it just was a lot. And I definitely could have done a few things better. The things that I remember doing not so great was the soft field takeoff. I did not get the nose up fast enough, and I did not stay in ground effect long enough. I kind of just had the nose, and I just kind of kept going. I did not like stay in ground effect and then keep it off the ground. So I wouldn't say I missed that, but something to work on. One of the other things was my short field landing with an obstacle. So this was very interesting. I have personally never done a short field landing or any landing with a virtual obstacle before. This was the first time I ever had to imagine an obstacle in front of the runway, land above it, while also landing on a shorter runway. And so I had to completely rethink how I do my landings. I've always landed on the 1,000-footers. I've never had an opportunity to land on the numbers. I've never tested that before. And today, for the very first time, not only did I have to land on the numbers, but I also had to clear a 50-foot obstacle. And so all of my pilot training kind of kicked in all at the same time. I was able to float above that obstacle, come right above it, and I landed on the numbers perfectly with over 2,000 feet of runway left, and I landed. However, the thing that I remember screwing up, when I came in for that landing, I did not bring up the flaps right away. So as I'm doing, coming in and I do my flare on that short field, I'm really, really light on the ground. And I start to do a little, not like a big bounce, but a little bounce, and I start to slide just a little bit. And so one of the things I was taught today was, hey, when you're coming in for these short fields, immediately bring up your flaps, and you're good to go. Get more weight on the wheels. We also had kind of an interesting flight through Peoria. We got into runway 13, and while we're on I think downwind of 13, we get our traffic advisory like, hey, can you do a short approach? Tower comes on and goes, hey, can you do a short approach? And I go, unable. That is the first time in my entire training and everything that I've ever done that I have ever told Tower unable, and I did it with a DPE sitting next to me, but I didn't feel comfortable as a pilot in command doing a short approach in front of a jet. I just wasn't going to do that. It just felt like an unneeded risk. I can take an extended downwind, and that's exactly what I did. And as we're extending our downwind, another jet comes up, and he has me widen my downwind. And I've never been told widen your downwind and come in behind another jet. Like, it was all kind of new stuff, but I nailed it just because I feel like I listened and I did what was safe, and I came in and I landed above them. I did a no flap landing. It was fine. Just kind of everything kind of worked out right there. So I know I'm kind of yapping. It's been 15 minutes in this video. And I think the most important thing I just want to get across is something that I think I'm gonna try to remember more than anything else, which is there's no such thing as perfect. I tried to demonstrate my ability to understand the knowledge that I have. I did my best to demonstrate my skills, and I know of quite a few things that I have to work on. These are things that I will continue to work on. These are things that I'll continue to perfect. But at the end of the day, I am human. Everyone else is human. And so as long as I'm doing my best to be safe, to do the right thing, and to fly the plane well, I mean, I guess that's all I need to do. And there's the cats. So anyway, I think the point being is, just if you're prepared for your check ride, things will go well. And I don't know if I over-prepared. In fact, I would even say I kind of unprepared. I probably could have put even more documents in here. I could probably put more physical books in here. I think my planning went really well. This is probably the most prepared I've done a nav log, and I've got a giant stack of these from all the different cross countries that I've planned and done. But at the end of the day, I just did my best, and obviously I did well enough to earn my pilot certificate. So that was today's flight. I'm a pilot. It's official. I'm gonna start planning a trip out to some Wisconsin places I want to go to. I've got a trip over to South Carolina I want to go to. Maybe eventually I'll take a nice long trip down to Florida or to Denver. Really kind of extend how far I can go in a Cessna, do a multi-day, multi-stop journey. This is just the beginning for me. And I hope that in like 10 years I come back and I watch this video and I'm like, oh, they didn't even know how to, they didn't even know high to low, look out below. Oh, that's so cute. Or maybe I'll see this and I'll be like, wow, I really did prepare really well for this. And I don't know, but this is kind of going to be a time capsule, I guess. But I did it. I'm a pilot. And I can't wait for what the future has in store. If you have any questions, please, tell me. I'll do my best to answer them. If you're curious about how much things cost, or what did I go through to do all this, or how much what did I prepare outside of this, just shoot me a question. I'll do my best to answer them. I don't want to put everything into a 20-minute video, but that's about it. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll consider this flight number 42. And flight number 43 will hopefully be my first flight that I get to go somewhere fun, or get to really try and do something new. So thank you guys for joining me on my journey. This kind of concludes pilot training videos and starts pilot training videos, because the training never stops. Every flight is a training flight. Every flight is a flight full of learning. And I'm really, really, really excited to see where I can go and what I can do and everything that I'm capable of. So don't mind the cats running around in the background. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for just being there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.